Hello and welcome back to another NorCal Cycling Photos gas station food cyclist production. I eat shit in this video. So this is the Folsom crit. Jeff has 2 cameras going on his bike now after me mentioning it and also people suggesting it. So this is a Folsom crit. They do this twice a year, once in the winter, and then once around May time. And usually it's a pretty good race for me. It wasn't a good race for me to this day. We'll get into that later. Jeff's kind of tail gunning right now. This is kind of cool. I'm also kind of maybe tail gunning. Yeah, definitely tail gunning. Definitely didn't have a good start to this race. Definitely didn't have a good finish to this race either. Things just taking it kind of easy right now. First lap. This is a big course. Big, wide, open terrain. Lots of wind. Lots of people show up to this. Folsom being in the Sacramento area, you get people all out from the Bay Area, from Davis, from Chico, all the way, and then a lot of Sacramento native people. So this is kind of a tight corner going into the finish on the first lap. Jeff's just kind of taking it easy right now. So I don't really remember much of this race. My race ended early, and then I spent the rest of the day in the emergency room. So Jeff ended up actually having a great day, and we'll get to that later. Jeff taking it really easy. We had a lot of teammates out here. We had Chris Kane, we had Dave Grunman, we had Matt McCall, we had me. Can't recall if we had any other non-elite riders. A lot of shout out to all the P1, 2, 3 women that ended up doing this race after their race ended. Pretty cool. A couple of them hung out and stuck around to do the men's race afterwards. I think it's baller when they do that, and I think that it's great that USAC officials let the women do that. I'd like to see that happening more frequently in local bike racing. This corner once again, you know, it's probably the sharpest corner. Well, yeah, looking at it, it definitely is the sharp. Well, so you have this corner, you have kind of goes the other way. Dave Grunman just riding the gutter right there. That gutter's kind of tricky, and then you come to this corner, and that's pretty much the only other technical section of the course. On the backside of the course going into here, pretty straightforward, not a whole lot of road furniture or anything. You start to crest it a little bit more. It starts getting a little windier right about this point. And then there's a couple jogs in the asphalt as you keep going around. And then that backside, once you get fully around the backside, right before the next sort of sharp turn, there's a couple more. You don't really notice them in this video. The asphalt seems pretty smooth, but right about here is where there's a couple of really pronounced bumps that you could just see Dave Grunman lifting his ass up in the air. You got a rider in the gutter right there. And there's me with Matt McCall right next to me. Really good to see, oh god, what's his name? Gooby Duck. Had a bad crash at Chico. He's finally back racing in Northern California. Team Zwift rider, don't recall his name. Got Oak Valley Bank out there. We got a Dolce Vita rider out there. Mike's Bike showed up with a few people. Davis showed up with a few people. Willie Myers of Mark Pro showed up, also with his man Gavin, and they were kind of well, you know, when Willie Myers shows up to a crit, he's kind of the odds-on favorite, even though he doesn't have a whole team with him. most of the time, and he's pretty remarkable in that regard. That the odds really are stacked against him. A lot of people look to him, and he still comes away with some pretty big victories, even though when he has not that many teammates in a field. Doing really well. Mike's Bikes Rider right there. I can't tell if that's Andrew Gosling. A little bumpy bump with a valley right here going into the turn. See, don't necessarily recall exactly when in the race my crash was. I think at this point in the race, oh, you could just see me slotting back right there. I had done a few things to kind of chase this stuff down. I wasn't feeling so hot to begin with. It's kind of a hot day for me. Trying to think of who that is for Touchstone Cycling. I'm gonna be really embarrassed because that is a local guy I ride with all the time. Local, I mean San Francisco Bay Area. Also, Master Track World Champion. Who? Things kind of widening up right here. Don't really know what's going on. I think that's Criterium. Little split going. Foreman. Jeff's coming around onto it, but he's got Mike's right on him. Andrew Gosling making sure that gap doesn't really form up or anything. Who is that rider right there? I can't tell. Got baby Mike's in front of big dog Mike's. Jeff's in a big old Mike's Bike sandwich. Really strung out. I think this must have been for a preem lap. They were calling preems pretty early in this race, which was kind of nice. I like when promoters kind of don't leave all the preems for the last 15-20 minutes. This race is great. It does have a field what's it called? A spectators preem, or spectators pull money. Always love it when that happens. Now, Jeff's actually at the front of the race. He's got John Franz right in front of him. Chris Kane pulling through. With Gooby Duck right on his wheel. And then there goes an attack. It looks like from Oak Valley. Is Dave Grunman going to get to the front and chase it down? Or is Mike's going to chase it down? We will see. Things kind of... Gooby Duck just says, no, I don't really want to be a part of that. Peels off. And there we have H24 go. That's a sizable enough gap for H24 to really try to bridge it. And then... Oh, Gooby Duck all of a sudden realizes, oh, I want to be a part of that if H24 is going to be there. John Franz is just waiting to see if he can get a free pull up to it. And Jeff's just kind of sitting on Franz's wheel. There's a gap. Jeff's going to put out power to follow Franz. And Franz is immediately going to sit up and flick his elbow. But like fucking hell, Jeff's going to pull through. Sorry, excuse my French. That's a little goofy. So Jeff's just gonna ride in the gutter at 100 watts with that gap right behind him, and then gonna have some Masters riders shoot by, and then everyone else hot on the chase, and eventually the whole field, and Jeff can recover for a little bit. You could just see Gooby Duck get bounced around on that little bump. Oh, there we go. You could actually hear that bump. That's that backside rough section I'm talking about. All right, so that would be... So yeah, Willie Myers is in the main field. His teammate is up the road. That's perfect for him. He doesn't have to do any work. All of his contenders are looking around. Willie's going to be like, yeah, we showed up to this race with 2 guys. You know, like if his guy in the break ends up getting anywhere on the podium because he drove the break, that's great. If he gets pulled up back, that's exactly what he wants. He can sprint. He's not doing any work. He's just going to sit in then, which is great for him. Can Gavin win a sprint any day of the week on his own right? Yes. All right, so Willie launches now that Gavin's gone. This is real half-assed, maybe not half-assed attack. Gavin's just going to pedal through softly. That's a good counterattack. That shows that, like, hey, you know what? Like, I'm here to race. I'm not here to just suck wheel all day long. I'll do a little attack. That gap's going to go. Jeff is just sitting up there. He's going to wait for more people, because more people are going to be like, okay, well, Willie's up the road, and if I'm not with Willie, so I'm going to chase. Jeff doesn't really want to necessarily chase at this point either. He's kind of thinking like, oh, well, I mean, that attack's going nowhere, so, if people want to chase it down for me, that's great. Going into this turn. I can't believe we're already 15 minutes in. I thought I crashed much earlier in the race. God, Chris Kane, so distinctive on the bike. I love having you as a teammate, Chris. You look great on the bike. I wish I had that salty gray peppery hair like you do. Oh, God. Just so great watching a crit video and seeing you. Miss you, bud. Alright, so we got Davis up there. Not sure which Davis rider that is. Not sure which Dolce Vita rider that is. Well, doesn't really matter because everyone's just clumping together all of a sudden. We got an H24 rider. I can't really tell who that might be. That might be Willie, I'm guessing, by the tattoo on the calf. Shout out to Willie, always keeping it down with the core. Who's that stroke rider? I think that's Leon Yip. Alright, so then we got Riley Marish of Low Bicycles up there. John Franz. This is kind of a real low moment. Everyone's, alright, look at me on the inside, up in the upper right-hand corner. Take the turn. I stand up out of the saddle, and then I beef it. I just eat shit. Alright, explanation time. What happened? I did a bunch of bike maintenance earlier in the week. Put a new chain on, put a new cassette and everything. Thought my chain rings were good still. Rode all week. Did a bunch of hard race rides on them. Had some shifter issues. Thought shit was fine. Wasn't fine. I stand up out of that corner and my chain slips, and then I go ass over face, full scorpion into the pavement. The day after my 26th birthday. End up spending the rest of the day in the ER, and then resuming my trip to Tahoe that I planned for my birthday with my lady friend, and just hung out in Tahoe for the rest of the weekend. Thankfully, had a CAT scan. Nothing was wrong with my head, more so than it already is to begin with. And just had some road rash. And shout out to the guy, Ben, at Folsom Emergency Room who took care of my road rash. That was, you did a great job scrubbing me out, and I've healed really quickly. Change your chain rings if you think they're worn out. Fucking spend the $100. Don't be a dumbass like me. You see me, I've finally got moved to the pavement, off the pavement there, and rant. For all you that were wondering what the hell happened to me. Bike's fine. Bike's all built up. Again, shit happens when you party. Life's tough. Wear a helmet, too. Definitely a helmet and sunglasses save like 90% of my face just going right into the pavement. I will say road rash on the lip is quite possibly the worst spot to have road rash. because it ruins every meal that you have the rest of the week. I have been having to take small bites and not a whole lot of spicy food because it burns like hell every time I eat. Anyways, we got Fergus right there. Fergus, always can tell him out by his... He's also one that's down with the core. He's down with the heavies. He's also down with the sad music. He's got all those fresh leg tats. Really easy to spot him out. Willie just right behind Jeff, too. Got Oak Valley on the left. I think that's Josh Carling. Might be wrong. Oak Valley, besides Matt Chattelong and Bobby, y'all look the same. Calling you out. Get a little more, diversity going on your team. I can't tell you apart. So yeah, Willie's just kind of sitting in. Jeff's just kind of sitting in. Got another Oak Valley rider on the left. They're calling a preme lap right now. Things are probably going to heat up a little bit more. Gooby Duck's right up there in it. Well, that's sad my race only lasted 16 minutes when it took 3 hours of driving in Memorial Day traffic to get out to Folsom. But that's bike racing. It's a game you play. Live to ride another day. Alright, Jeff's clearly not interested in this preme. You're just kind of sitting mid-pack on this one. You know, kind of have to be worried. After a crit like this, when they're calling all sorts of premes, you kind of have to be worried about the counterattack for a break after the preme. That's a great time to counterattack. Or attack in general. You see, you got a little gap going in there. Oh, just a little hairy into that corner, coming up right through. I'm still on the side of the pavement. I think I was there for a hot minute. Kind of begged the EMTs to scrub me out of my road rash there so I didn't have to go to the ER, and they were like, nah, we're not going to do that. So that was the reason why I went to the ER. That, and I fell on my face, and it was probably a good idea to get the CAT scan. Don't know who that rider is in all the Capo and Pearl Zoomy on the Scott. He's been showing up a lot lately. He's someone get that dude a team. He's got legs. We got Antoine Freddy just behind Jeff for A-Main Cycling. He's known to pull out a sprint out of his hat when he has to or wants to. Good dude. Got Matt McCole, right in front of Jeff. Matt McCole of Daphne, Alabama. The Floribama Shore. And then we got, oh gosh, why can't I remember his name? So, I didn't crash because this corner is technical. I crashed because I was racing on clapped out equipment. So, and I'm a broke ass. Broke punk. I was trying to do a botch. Or a bodge. I should have just got new stuff. Riley Marish just coming back into the fold. If any of you guys are juniors riders and you're like, or college kids and you're like trying to beg your parents for like money to help you get a new chain or a new cassette or something, just show them the clip of my crash and be like, yeah, this is what happens when you skimp out. You think you can get away with stuff. Your parents will throw money at you. You can take some of that money and go to Trader Joe's and get a pizza or something. I don't know. Pace is kind of getting a little, getting a few accelerations. Got Bobby Terra just coming back in, slotting in behind Jeff. Dimension, or not Dimension. Data-driven athlete. Data-driven athlete. I am forever going to think of you as Dimension Data, even though you have, like, the complete opposite kits. Yeah, I'm just going to think that forever. Then we got Aaron Schnovel. Aaron, how do you pronounce your last name? Next time, if you're watching this, next time, come up to me at a crit, or I'll come up to you and I'll ask you how you pronounce your name. Aaron had a bad crash at Snelling last year. Bumped into my rear tire. That's how I met him, because I messaged him on Facebook afterwards and asked him how he was doing. It's kind of the bro code. It's like when someone crashed, you just like, like I was in vicinity, reach out, ask them. Got a lot of nice messages after my crash, even though I felt like a total goob. So, yeah, thanks to everyone that reached out. I probably sent you a picture of me grilling a steak on a hibachi grill with a bunch of Totita's pizza rolls right next to it, because that's how I partied on Memorial Day weekend. Alright. This video, I mean, this is a bunch of surging. It's such a wide open course. There's so much bunching. There's no breaks that are getting established. There's just a lot of premes every now and then. You can really tell if a race, has the opportunity for breakaways or whatever. You see there's an attack. People are just going to follow. Robert Terror's right up into the fold. He's just following a lot of stuff. So he's going to jump right here, but he's going to bring the whole field with him. So Jeff's going to, follow. He had to do quite a bit of power. But he looks back, and he sees like, maybe I got a decent gap. Going in the corner, maybe I'll pop out. But also, I'm just bringing the whole field with me, so I don't know if I'm necessarily going to follow this move, because a lot of people are just going to chase it down. So Jeff's just going to sit up. It's coming back together. That's literally how this course goes. It's just someone's going to attack. They're going to get an initial gap. Everyone is going to chase from behind. It's going to get strung out for a second. It's going to come down to a sprint. Matt McCole just right behind Jeff, saving his energy, getting ready to help out in the end. Got Gavin. Gavin has already, done a few moves. He's probably, if Willie's up in that move, he's going to wait. If Willie's not in that move, he's going to attack or follow. It's just how this race goes. It's not really great. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know this race. I don't know the history of this course. I don't know if it's a breakaway course in previous years, but I've never really found it to be a great breakaway course. As a breakaway rider most of the time, I really do love this race. This has got good premes. The promoters are great, It's exciting. It's fun. Folsom, Sacramento, Northern California bike racing. In the Bay Area, I think everyone thinks they're hot shit all too often. Sacramento does it pretty well. Davis does it pretty well. Chico does it pretty well. It's great coming out here to Folsom to race, especially if you're from the Bay Area. It's just this course is there's a whole lot of incentive to come out to it if you have to drive 2 or 3 hours. Is really what I'm trying to get to in a pretty elongated way. Alright, so yeah, you could just continue to see that Jeff's, he's doing a decent amount of work here. It's just getting strung out. It's, it's not bunched up anymore. He's got Matt in front of him. Matt's going to try to break the win for him. And then, after all that work, it's just going to kind of clump back together. I forget if this is a preem lap or not. Yeah, so Matt's having to come out of the saddle a little bit. Come around riders that are sitting up, trying to recover. Mike Spikes rider with saddlebag. Love that. Love that when guys show up to races with saddlebags. Nothing says holier than thou than I'm fucking racing a crit with a saddlebag, even though I got carbon wheels on. Maybe he just had some, like, weird saddle that had, like, a lanyard on it, or maybe it was a saddlebag strap flopping, I don't know. But that does happen. Alright, so yeah, there's this gap's gonna go. Willie's gonna kind of... It's not really a gap, it's a little move. Willie's gonna try to, you know, he's gonna follow that. Everyone's on his tail then. Jeff's in the position where Matt's up in front. So he just gets to wait and let a few other guys pull around him. He's got that's not John Franz. That's, Scott Cohen of Davis Cycling right on his left side. Or on his right side on the back. Sorry. All messed up with the camera. So yeah, Jeff's kind of at the pointy end of affairs. That looks like a sizable little gap that's gone there. Surge. On this course, though, is that anything substantial? I'm going to say no. You know, that can come back. 1 year, my first time doing this race as a P12, I got in a substantial breakaway with 5 laps to go. We had 30 seconds, and it plummeted, and we got caught on the last lap with 200 meters left. It was absolute heartbreak. That... Not as heartbreaking as me crashing on my own accord at this race this year, but I am going to say that, you know, it can happen that a break can look like it has everything it needs to stick on this course, and it won't. This course is, it's elusive in that regard. Yeah, you know, like, everyone's just kind of letting up right here. Looking at each other, a little bit of talking. This is at the pointy end of affairs, too. Look at that gap go. Not a whole lot of people are trying to chase that down. But it's not like Jeff's doing a whole lot, so he's going to wait for the counterattack. There it goes, right up onto the gutter. And Jeff's going to follow it and immediately gets a gap. Alright, here we go. Jeff gets the gap. He's on Davis's wheel. I forget your name. You rode for Estella's. You actually have a pretty storied career. And now you just ride a 6 steel frame road bike at crits and road races occasionally. I forget your name. But you're kind of a boss in my mind. Alright. So then you got A-Main coming up, attacking on the inside. It's still pretty, you know, they had that initial gap trying to bridge up to that front group, and then if you look back behind Bob right now in the upper right hand corner, you can see how the field immediately just kind of latches onto the wheel. So Jeff did a good job. He kind of launched, then he let Davis take over, and Davis is putting out a huge, you know, like a decent sized effort right now to try to bridge up to this up front, and just now pulls up. So Jeff looks, he's got Bob behind him. You know, what incentive does Jeff have to bridge up to a group that just got their gap shut down over the course of a lap and a half, or like a half lap? Not a whole lot. So he's going to let the field follow through, let some fresh legs follow through. That's kind of like a defensive, I'm trying to keep this together sort of thing. Maybe we'll get in a gap, but I'm not going to commit to it too hard. Effort from Jeff. That's what I'm assuming. He gave me some race notes in an email. Try to pull that up. Sorry, Jeff. Not the greatest production. Maybe my head's a little more scrambled than I remember it being. Oh, crowd preem! Crowd preem! There we go. Everything's kind of bunching up for this crowd preem. Not really going anywhere. But except a flyer off the front. Everyone's looking. That's the thing. You can take a flyer off the front on the backside, and you could be caught at the finish line on this. So, yeah, Jeff's going to do a little bit of power. He's going to go with this. don't know if he's going for the prem necessarily, or maybe he thinks that this is a decent enough. We got Crichton of Swift. Are they called Team Swift or Swift Academy or something? I don't know. Got those sweet Bianchis though. Celeste. Let me know how the audio sounds on this this time. I'm not cupping the microphone like I'm in a hardcore band anymore. I've actually got a mic stand, and by a mic stand I mean I put my mic into an old bike polo mallet and I have it leaning up against my desk. That's what's holding my mic. Yes, I played bike polo. I know that's not cool. If Fergus is listening to this, he's gonna think I'm a dork forever for playing bike polo. Speaking of which, Fergus is right on Jeff's wheel. Fergus always rocking some cool gear. He's got those pink glasses on. Got Swift chasing down that gap with Jeff. Is Jeff gonna pull through? Yeah, Jeff pulls through. That's a good pull through. And then he immediately, that wasn't like a real half-ass pull-through. That was like a, hey, kid, you know what? You just did a good effort. But then he's got Chris Kane right in tow with Gavin Murray and his beautiful long locks right behind him. So Jeff doesn't really have an incentive if Chris is up there to do super hard work. So that's kind of why he's letting that gap go. Looks back, lets the rest of the field drag up behind him. Who gets the is this the lap of the cash prem? So yeah, everyone's going for the cash prem right now. And who gets it? So yeah, this is one of those cases where the prem is definitely, it's not about the counterattack after, it's about the actual prem. Unless someone's like a real badass and is going to go for it after. So, and which I think someone did. Either that or like you don't get the cash prem and you're like, oh well, fuck this, I'm gonna keep on going, I'm gonna attack super hard now to show them. I do that all the time because I can't sprint if you held a gun to my head, so but I can kind of like attack for like a minute or so. Tell you what, crashing didn't really do great for my self-esteem. Willie's just coming up around Gavin. That's a great attack right there. Watch that. Wow, and he's got Mike's right on his trail. Got Aaron Patterson behind Jeff of Pete's Coffee with Team Swift just coming around him. Who is that? Oh, that's a Mike's Bikes Elite Masters rider with the arm tattoos and the last year's tarmac. It's not a regular Elite rider. There were a lot of Mike's riders in this. Like, we have this from Montaroon where we have the Elite riders and then we have the non-Elite riders, and it's two different kits. And they're not really discernible at all, so we show up to a race sometimes and we have 9 people in the field. But Mike's Bikes has, like, the Masters team that's Elite and the Elite team, and they have the exact same kit. And then they have the non-Elite team, which has a totally different kit. They all kind of race independently of each other. It's not like they're really... I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I don't think the Masters Elite riders really race for the non-Elite riders in situations like this. Or the Elite team in general. I think on Squadron it's a little different because our Elite riders are a little closer with our non-Elite riders. Which, we could talk about that any day of the week. In regards to bike racing, whether or not teams should have 2 teams, you don't really see that so much in the rest of the country. That's kind of like a Bay Area thing, I feel like, at this point. Or, if it is a thing, it's more at the internal level. Ooh, just coming into this corner, doing a little work, making sure the muscles are good. The Touchstone rider. Jeff just taking a sippy sip of his drink, looking the reflection. Coming back together, not doing a whole lot of effort, looking at those watts, just really coasting it, coming down off a decently high heart rate, just kind of spinning. So Dave Grudman, just back in the race. Dave Grudman actually saw me crash, pull off to the side of the road, made sure that my brains weren't totally fried and scrabbled, and then hop back into the race. And then you can see him here. This big old motor. Got all bunched up once again. 20 miles an hour in a crits. That's this flat and wide open. It's a little slow. It's not the greatest rate of speed. I think when I crashed, we were going maybe like 27 or 28. Sounds pretty cool. I just rounded up and tell people that I ate pavement at 30 miles an hour, and they're like, what? But that gutter is actually pretty rideable. You can do it. You get to hop out of it. There's a couple of rough sections, and then there's a grate that you have to watch out for. Can't tell if that's just a cowboy or a prem lap. Cowboy. Cowbell. Blah, blah, blah. This is getting hard. There's some momentum going here. Jeff's just sitting in, surfing it. This video really sums up the whole premise of why Jeff has why Jeff is the one that has the camera on his bike. Ooh, I don't know what that guy was doing. A little dicey coming around. Jeff looks like he's at the front, but maybe this is an attack. I'm not sure. Maybe that was a prem. Maybe that cowbell was actually a prem. Going over the rough little bump. Got Davis. He's got Aaron Patterson and Mike's bikes right behind him. People are sitting up. Are they gonna sprint? Can't tell if this is a prem or not. And there goes John Franz on the attack. Diving the inside turn. Is Jeff going to follow? No. He's just going to let it float. He's going to let Bob attack right over the top of him. And he's going to hop right onto Bob's wheel. And they get a pretty good gap. Don't think that Jeff is really going to pull through on this one. I might be wrong. Jeff spent a lot of time at the front of this race. Alright, Gooby Duck going to the front, pointing into things. Got Oak Valley following up with Timmy Bauer. Got Pete's Rider. We got Cortex. Got Touchstone. We got Mike's bikes. Looks like Andy Gosling right behind him. We got Gavin Murray up on the left for Mark Pro. This is kind of the point in a race where if I was actually in the race, I'd be like, oh, well, nothing's really stuck it up to this point. We're at the 40-minute mark. God, can this just be over? I'm tired. And then that's when things, after points like this, it gets, after points like this, it starts to pick up pretty good. You know, decent effort. Now, you know, things are kind of getting single-filed, strung out. Oh, I'm watching this. I just got a bike built up again to ride. And I'm really excited to race bikes again next weekend at Dash for Cash. Freudian slip? I don't know. But yeah, got Gooby Duck kind of launching off the front. Kind of wondering why Jeff's spending so much time at the front right now. So he's going to follow this move. He's got Pete's in front of him. Touchstone. Got Oak Valley following right behind him in the likes of Timmy Bauer. Then that's actually Willie going off the front. So everyone's going to follow him, like always. But he's got Gavin right behind him. I mean, Gavin's right behind Jeff. And Andrew Gosling also. And we got a flyer coming out on the outside, dive bombing on the inside. Willie just raising his arm up, saying, "Hey, why are you all just following me, not fucking pulling through?" I think is what he was trying to say. That makes me giggle. So yeah, Jeff's gonna follow through with this. Jeff's spending a lot of time at the front of the bike race with 42 minutes in. Ay, Jeff, you're making my legs tired. Because that's why Matt McCall is just coming up. Matt McCall is going to be like, "Hey, Jeff, give it a break. Let me come around you. Let me do the counterattack. That's great teamwork. Good job, Matt. Watch Matt go." There you go. You know, that's sort of... I understand, because if I was in this race, hypothetically, I'd kind of be doing a lot of the front of the race sort of work, hopefully. You know, whether or not my legs were there before I crashed, that's all hypothetical and hyperbole. You know, that's all bullshit. Matt coming up, so Jeff doesn't really have to do shit. You know, that's good teamwork. Good job, Matt, in that regard. Good job, Matt, in general. Matt did a pretty good job. I don't know if people tell you that. All aspects of your life. John Franz also towards the front. Good to see that John Franz isn't riding clapped out aluminum clinchers anymore. He's got some nice deep dish race wheels now. Yeah, I mean, this is a 50-minute crit or 60-minute crit. We're at almost at the 45-minute mark. This is when things, you know, obviously you kind of have to worry about a gap going. I don't think really a gap is going to go. But things start picking up from here. In my mind, watching this, things have been kind of dull since the 32-minute mark. Just a lot of fake surging, not a whole lot of actual premes getting called. things are getting strung out now. People are getting antsy. People are realizing, oh, I don't have so much time. Maybe I'll try to get a move going. Try to get like a 10 laps go. Like, see, I can't see. Oh, Jeff's going to go. Jeff's going to attack now. That's a sizable split up the road that I missed. Jeff being like, well, hey, like, fuck, like, that's the split up the road. I think I can bridge that. He's got the gap pretty handedly already. He's going to launch back onto this. No problem at all. Forget if Matt is up there. That's a pretty big gap. But it's never a good sign when you got a big gap and you got a big group and then the riders on the back are just freewheeling. I mean, the field's going to have no problem launching back on pretty quickly. Got Oak Valley just coming back, sizing up who's there. I think that's one of Oak Valley's sprinters kind of judging. Got Ferg from A-Main up here. Now, it's not like people are freewheeling at the back. I think that's Matt up in front. Matt McCall for Tarun Elite. But yeah, no one's really doing concerted digs, and I think that's the field catching on. Yeah, sadly. So, like, that's one of those moves, like, when you're at the end of, you're 45 minutes into a race, it's 60 minutes long, and a gap like that goes, you really have to wonder if the bridge effort is worth it. Is it going to really stick, or, is it really worth the jump across and waste that energy? Do you have those matches to burn in the first place? I think Jeff, I'd say any day of the week that Jeff has those matches to burn. I don't think it's a problem for him. For other riders, that's maybe something I would suggest you thinking about. If you're listening to this trying to get race tactics. Matt McCall just dropping back. Moto's up there. I think that's Andrew. Oof, coming close. That Oak Valley rider just slipping back. So Matt's got Jeff's wheel following him. Matt's really good at being up there at the end of the race. With 10 minutes to go. Being exactly where he needs to be. I think that's a fault that I have for sure. When it's like 15 minutes to go, it's like, well, shit. Like, am I going to be able to get up? Oh, I think this is a preem lap. So Jeff doesn't really want to be this close to the front this early. So or maybe he does. He's gonna just kind of lead it out for Matt, I assume. Maybe the two of them are trying to get into some shenanigans together. This is pretty interesting. You don't see this too often. Two riders from the same team kind of leading it off at the same time. I'm excited. I was in the back of my van getting all bandaged up and shit at this point. Alright, so yeah, okay, you got Oak Valley, and then you got... So Jeff's going to sit up. That's great. This is a good gap. Pull through. Alright, so we got Mike's, we got Oak Valley, we got H24, and then Dave Grumman. Alright, things are coming back. Dave Grumman's going for it. Maybe Matt... Oh, does Dave get the sprint? Yeah, Dave got that preem. Good job, Dave. Dave, if that was a beer preem and you didn't give me beer after my race, I'm going to be disappointed in you. I know you don't drink that. I was definitely not in the beer drinking condition at that point. Alright, so we got 50 minutes, 10 minutes left in this race. Just had a preem called. People are probably going to be tired. Some people are probably having a bunch of energy left. They're going to maybe try to do something. But I think at this point, everyone knows that it's all coming down to a sprint. Unless some act of God changes that, which it could. Unless someone tries to turbo durbo it off the front. So yeah, Jeff, 10 minutes left. I don't know why you're up at the front so much. Much of commotion, people talking. Jeff having to do a pretty big effort to follow that. Looks like that's a sizable attack. I can't tell if that's from Wooly or if that is from Gavin of H24. He's got Pete's chasing him. Alright, so that's a decent gap. Gavin's just sitting up. Looks like Timmy Bauer is going to bridge right now. That's really cool. The rear-facing camera, actually, you can kind of see when people are preemptively launching their attack. Matt McColl's going to get up and do some of the chase. Got Mike's Elite Masters riders kind of going up there, too. And then a little bit of surging. Jeff's just going to let that gap go. Why? Because Matt's up there. Perfect foil. Ferg really being where he needed to be at this race. Shout out to Ferg. Ferg coached a clinic at the track that morning at Hellier in San Jose, then drove in Memorial Day traffic to Folsom to race a crit. If that's not giving back to the sport and being a great ambassador for the sport while still being a top athlete in the sport, then I don't know what is. Like, in my mind, Ferg's a hero for doing that. That's insanity. Not to mention the dude lives in San Francisco, so he had to drive from San Francisco to San Jose and then out to Folsom. Kudos, dude. I like that. That's pretty, that's, you know, like, give this guy the Medal of Honor, in my mind. And he's up there with, he's up in it with 53 minutes left to go in this crit. It's a hell of a ride. Things are getting a little dicier now. Look at the power that Jeff's having to put out up here, towards the end of things. You know, it's kind of clumping up. You see more of the sprinters coming to front. That's Twan. Anthony Ferretti. Do people call him Twan? I'm just going to start calling him Twan in these videos. So yeah, now this is kind of where the sprinters are coming up. Looking around. I think that's John Franz of Davis Cycling Club. We got a Touchstone Cycling. Then we got Riley Marish being where he needs to be. Believe that's Andy Gosling right behind Jeff. Chris Kane launching it. 55 minutes left to go. People are going to chase. Matt McColl. God damn it. Matt McColl right behind Jeff. This is where things start getting hairy. Oh, right into the gutter. That's fun. God, this is a big field too. Got Aaron Davis Bike Club up there as well on his new hot pink bike. Kudos, that thing's pretty sick. Clumping up now, going into that tight turn. This is where it gets dangerous going into this turn. You see a little bump. Ooh, that was tight. Matt with the save. That was a great shot right there. Oh God, so like from the 33-minute mark, as the commentator, I can say that it was kind of boring. This is where shit really starts to get interesting, because now we all know that it's coming down to a sprint, and everything up to this point is going to be for the sprint. So, that being said, watch Matt McCall right about meow. Okay, in about a minute. Just keep an eye on Matt. Matt holding his line. He's got riders coming around him. Got some Mike Spikes rider riding way too high of a cadence. Look at John Franz working his way up there. He's doing a good job. And then Willie right behind Jeff. So Matt's doing a good job for Jeff. And then he's got Willie bumping right behind him. And then right about here, we have Matt surging a little bit. Going in. Got a preem lap right here. We got a preem lap. Oof. Matt's doing a good job right here. Is Matt going to go for this preem? Matt's going to follow. We got Bob right on the left side. This is a pretty good lead out. Oh, wow. So much power. So much power when it's a preem lap with like 3 to go still. Or maybe this is the finish. Oh, this is the finish. Matt's just leading out for this finish, doing a great job. Holy shit. Oh, look at that head bump from Willie Myers right there on Timmy Bauer. This is a classic sprint. Jeff, unfortunately Jeff has to lead it out a little, didn't have. Jeff's doing a great job. He's starting to sprint early. He's going to go for it into this last turn, and now he has to launch. Now he has to give everything. Look at that power go. He's going to go for it. He's going to go for it, and he's got Willie right behind him, and look at the gap that they have. Oh, heartbreak for Jeff as Willie just snips him at the line when Matt just gave him the hero lead out. Total hero lead out from Matt McCall. Jeff, it was a little bit early. Willie was able to come around him only by a bike length at the end, but they had a sizable gap. That was exciting. Yo, if you want to go back, stop and pause this video. Go back to about the 57-minute mark. Rewatch that. Watch the upper right-hand corner. Watch the head bumping going on between Timmy Bauer and Willie Myers. There's no love lost between those two guys. I don't think that they're mad at each other or anything. That's just how you race a bike. That's what you have to do to sprint. That was a great video. Kudos to Jeff on his second place. I'm still alive and well. I'll see you guys all at a race nearby pretty soon. Thank you so much for watching another NorCal Cycling Photos and Gas Station Food Cyclist. Follow me on Instagram, Gas Station Food Cyclist on Instagram. I'm posting a lot up there. There's a whole lot of other content. If you like memes, if you like gas station food, follow me there. Yeah. Thanks a lot. Have yourself a great rest of whatever time of day it is.